Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Unlock the Middles, amplifying student voice on a Friday afternoon. My name is Dean Packard, the principal at Charlton Middle School in Charlton, Massachusetts, and alongside of me, I have my co-host and good friend, Principal Chris Starcheski of Dudley Middle School. Chris, happy Friday to you. You know how we get a chance to have student voice be amplified in our forum. Man, that excites me. Good to see you, my friend.
Back at you. We had a great show last night talking with an educator from Toronto, Canada, about the game that he brings and the relationship he builds with kids. And today's topic this afternoon with our student guests is really about developing and cultivating individual identity and character. And it is such a special experience that we have as middle level educators to be able to see kids grow, in our case, in fifth grade from 10-year-olds to 14-year-olds, 4-year span of growth we get to see and develop. And we're going to hear from those kids today just about what middle school has helped contribute to their character development. In
schools in general, it's our job not only to teach content, but to help teach kids to become kids, well-rounded kids, help them work through situations and become better problem solvers. To us, as lead learners and leaders in our school, that is vitally important because we're talking about soft skills for success when they go to high school. So this topic through a student's lens, to me, is going to be pretty fun.
Yeah, it really is, Dean. What do you say we bring the kids in, get this show started, and hit this hard?
Let's do it. We're going to bring them one by one. When we bring them in, introduce yourself and the school that you're from. Here we go.
My name is Daniel Harris. I'm in 8th grade from Charlton Middle School.
Welcome back, Daniel. Glad to have you with us. Hi, Emma.
I'm Emma. I'm an 8th grader at Dudley Middle School.
Hi, Emma.
Hi, I'm Isabella. I'm a 7th grader at Charlton Middle School.
Hi, Isabella. And?
My name is Renata. I am in Dudley Middle School, and I was on the show last week, and I'm honored to be here again.
Awesome. Good stuff. Oh, welcome, guys. We're happy you're here.
We really are pretty fired up to have you here. Isabella, welcome. And, thank you for joining us for your first show. And Emma as well. You know that we're going to dig into a topic. And, this is all about you. This is about character development and building kind of an identity. And, there's a certain basketball coach, former basketball coach, since passed away, John Wooden, UCLA legendary basketball coach. And he had a quote about character as, he used to say, be more concerned with your character than with your reputation, because your character is what you really are, while your reputation is what others think you are. And to Mr. Packard and I, that's really important and special because there are unique talents in every single one of you and your peers across our schools. And what we'd like to hear from you about to begin is talking about your experience in middle school that you've had and advice that you would give other kids to expand your friendship circle. How do you build relationships with new people, and how do you keep your circle tight? Let's kick it to Isabella, bottom middle of the screen there. How about you open it up?
Yeah, middle school really isn't that bad. It's kind of easy for me to make friends personally because I really like meeting people. It helps me be happier in a lot of things, helps me focus better because I know there are people around me. And to make friends better, I feel like you kind of just have to not be too afraid to open up to people. You have to kind of put yourself out there. And when I first moved here, I had trouble doing that because I was really scared because I didn't know anyone. But after a while, I learned that it's okay if you open up, because nothing bad can really come out of it. So, yeah.
Perfect. That's a great answer. Emma, kick it over to you.
I've always, like Isabella, I've always had a very easy time making friends because I've always been willing to put myself out there. But something I've learned through middle school about friendships is really just learning when to let certain friends go. You can't have all your friends until high school or adulthood. You need to know who and when to let go.
That
Wow.
is like light years ahead of a lot of thinking. I'm glad you said that, Emma. Renata.
I think middle school has really helped me like kind of show me what friends like really mean. And I feel like it's it's not that hard for me to go ahead and like just kind of put myself out there and like be me to everybody, but I feel like it's so important to know who like you are as yourself before you start to go with other groups, because I feel like the more you hang out with others and like the people who are not necessarily the right people for you, the more that you get shaped by those, and maybe they're not the right people for you. And I feel like that's kind of what I learned, because just going like around, like when, for example, when I walk into the cafeteria, I see all these groups, all of these tables of different groups, and I'm not afraid to just walk up to that specific group and be like, hey, I'm Renata, you know? I feel like it's not really good to like kind of hide and just stick with one group. I think it's so important to really spread yourself so you can see who's right for you.
Love it. Love it. Dan, it's tough acts to follow here.
I'm probably on the other side of all of them. I'm more, I guess what you call antisocial. I'm not as apt to put myself out there. So I personally did come into middle school in 5th grade with a small group of friends. From then, some have gone, some have joined, others have just stayed. Some have gone farther apart, but I'm still friends with them. But probably one of the biggest things is just don't be afraid to make new friends. Because, for example, whoever my friend is now, I never would have thought that I would have become friends with them when I was in 5th grade sitting in the cafeteria. So it's just be willing to accept change with your friend groups, I'd have to say.
So I'm just going to if I could take this next lead-in question. So we talk about friendship circles and how to build them, and you build them through the eyes of people you want to surround yourself with. What does that look like from your lens? You know, when my kids came through school, I asked them why they were successful. And one of the things they would say to me is that they were successful because they were kind to everybody, and they gave everybody an opportunity to be able to enter into their bubble. Now, from your lens, what does your friendship circle look like? What do you look for when you're looking to add people to your friendship circle? We'll start with Dan this time.
Probably some kind people that won't be mean to people for no reason, or just be mean to them because they might wear a certain color that they don't think, just being rude, mean, I guess, bully. Another thing is just be willing to accept change, I guess, too. Not being stuck on one thing, always being, I guess, going with the flow.
Okay, thank you. Renata.
I feel like when I look for friends, I feel like I look for people who are kind, respectful. They are willing to accept others. And if, for example, they accept someone who's not the most kindest, we can always just kindly, respectfully kind of just tell them that that's not right. I feel like I look for people who are just really kind, you know?
Isabella.
My friend group personally is like some of the most kind, accepting of all walks of life people I know, and that's definitely important to me, is that you accept everyone, because I feel that it's like not the nicest thing to say something mean about someone because they're different. So definitely being accepting is very important, and also being able to just like make sure you can actually be friends with that person and like you're compatible, and that something like little won't tear you guys apart. That's definitely important.
Emma?
A few things that are really important to me for my friends is to have people that are kind, considerate, respectful, and really someone I can just look to when I'm having a bad day and be like, can you help me out? Really important. Those are some really important things to me in my friend circle.
Brilliant. You're also insightful, and we have a really decent understanding of what it is that, in terms of type of person that you surround folks who have a like mindset, like ideology. Kudos to you for recognizing some of those really important elements that are there. Hey, Renata, we got you back on screen there. Friends are one thing and your circle is another. But being able to identify what you are passionate about, what your individual strengths are, what your personal goals are. If you can, I'd like you to talk about the connections between those, inside pieces, those intrinsic pieces for you that drive you. How do you hook yourselves up with activities or put your passions to work so other people can know the true you? It's kind of an open book type of question. You don't need to do a lot of self-revelation if you don't want, but I'm kind of curious about how you put yourself out there and how you showcase your individual talents and are comfortable with being who you are out there. Let's kick it to Renata for the opening on this one.
I think that the first thing before really entering like the outside world, like being able to have other people accept you, I think it's so important to first understand that who you are and what necessarily like what who you are, and what other people say don't really affect the way that you represent yourself, because you're yourself at the end of the day. And I feel like once you achieve that, when you got into the outside world and someone, for example, bullies you or says something not kind, you can really kind of just really pass it, kind of like dust it off the shoulder, because you know who you are, and it's going to be easy just to be you.
Resiliency.
Brilliant.
I love it.
Dan.
Probably one of the ways that I make that I just I guess you could use showcase yourself is, rather than being in front, I like to be in the background. A good analogy I could use, I guess, is that instead of being on the stage during the play, I'm making the music for the play. Showcasing my talent that aid the other people, I guess.
Fantastic. Emma.
The way I showcase myself is to be outgoing. I like to be on the stage in the play, if you will. I like to put myself into new things to try something out.
Taking that risk. I love it. Isabella, round us out.
Personally, I try to show myself by like helping out other people and like showing them that like I know what to do. I can help out because I enjoy helping people. It's kind of important to me because like I enjoy like pleasing people and making them feel good. So it always is important to me to do that, which is a really good way to represent myself, I feel.
Love it. Not only do you represent yourselves during these growth spurts, but you also represent your family and how you're brought up and what you're all about. One of the things I like to talk about as an educational leader is that it's okay to be good at academics. If you do that, that's part of school and part of the process. Sometimes by doing really well with your academics, you may lose friends. So how do you gauge the importance of your education when you're looking at still building that friendship group? How important is it that you're around kids that want to learn? Now, when you stop and think about that for a second, that builds that circle even deeper. Why don't we start off with Emma on this one? When you're thinking about your grades and your growth, how important is it to be around other kids that feel the same way?
To me, it's very important to be around kids who value their education.
Oh, we lost Emma there.
Let's kick it over to Dan.
I guess I'm more. I don't mainly, I guess, focus on people who value their education higher, or I should say, like where they place their value of education. I like to surround myself with people who are just kind, or people that have the qualities that I enjoy in a friend, that don't necessarily need to have the aspect of getting good grades and all the school stuff.
Fair. Let's go back to Emma.
Yeah, kick it back to Emma.
So, as I was saying, I want to surround myself with people that value their education as much as I do, because I feel if I'm around someone who doesn't care about their grades much, it could distract me or distract me from achieving my academic goals if I hang out with them too much.
Nice. Renata?
I think it's really important, but at the same time, I also think that also hanging out with some people that are a little bit more lenient per se, I think also kind of could help. Like, in my opinion, I feel like I like to help others. So maybe if they didn't feel that, like, if they didn't really think that much of grades, then maybe as they hang out with me more, instead of listening to them, if they're more like lenient, I could help them kind of grow that skin for education.
Interesting.
That's right. Isabella?
Me and my friends, we all care about both education and making sure we aren't too stressed out about things. We always find a way to, like, whenever we're together, we find ways to, like, make sure all our schoolwork is done, and then we also have fun because we like to have that balance. It's, like, very easy to get so immersed into schoolwork that you're, like, freaking out about it, or you have, like, an anxiety attack because you're like, is this due then? Oh my gosh. So, like, it's important to have that balance, and me and my friends know that. So we always find ways to make sure we have that balance, but we definitely make sure we focus on our grades as well, because we like to make our families proud. That's a big thing for us. So we always make sure to keep our grades up while still having fun with each other.
You know, the four of you have said so many powerful things in such a short amount of time. You're teaching lessons, just so you know, to the world right now by explaining in a very clear way that, you know, your focus and your tenacity towards your goals is driven by something more than just a grade on paper. It's driven by a want and a need and a desire to achieve personal success. And at the end of the day, if you're happy with the level of effort you put in, you've been successful. And it's not necessarily about the grade, but the grade might be a real motivator, right, Emma? Where that's something you're really proud of because you feel like you want to see that accomplishment for all the hard work that you put in, and you're comfortable putting in that hard work. I'm so proud of you all for sharing what you shared. I'm curious, though, if I stayed on this academic track for a minute, think about the start of the year to the end of the year in terms of how you progress with your skills. And I guess what I'm curious to know is not necessarily the grade, but your learning and your ability in your classes. What have been some personal achievements that you've realized, you know, across this past school year? Because this has been a challenging one, without a doubt, unparalleled, unexperienced by anyone in our generation. So what is an accomplishment that you've been able to realize from the beginning of the year until now in any class or any self-personal attribute? Let's open it with Isabella this time.
I feel that over the year at the beginning, I was so terrified because I had never, like, done this before. This was my first time ever going remote. This was my first time ever doing hybrid, and then, like, it was a little freaky at first, but I feel that it made my work ethic grow a bit because I realized that you have to work through the challenges, and then this is like a once in a lifetime experience to really show that. So it definitely changed my mindset on work ethic, and it definitely helped me become a little bit of a harder worker when it comes to things like that, especially since I got really challenging classes this year, since it was my first year in, like, pre-algebra and, like, one of the highest ELA classes in my grade, I think. So that was definitely really challenging, and I was very, like, scared at first. But having that challenge and then having COVID on top of it definitely helped build my work ethic and stuff like that.
Good answer.
Awesome. Dan?
Probably one of the biggest improvements over this year has been time management skills. During the beginning of the year, and we had the whole remote classes, I had terrible time management skills with not being able to, I don't know what word I'm going to look for, but being in person, having all that aspect of, okay, this is due here and here's the paper for it, instead of, okay, this is an assignment on Google Classroom, you have to print it yourself, you have to do it yourself here, and you have to take a photo and turn it in, all by this time. So by exposing myself to this remote aspect of learning, I've probably gained some time management skills.
Fantastic.
Great answer.
Renata.
I think being able to see improvement over all of these challenges is so really powerful. That kind of gets me continuing to run. But I feel like having this COVID situation going on is really something extraordinary. I think it was really tragic, but I think it's also really cool because we wouldn't probably learn this kind of stuff until like high school or even later on in life. But now that we have this experience, this challenge, we can really build off of that and be better in the future. I think it's really cool to see that improvement.
I love you recognize challenge, because you're right. Everyone's working through a challenge right now, and we call it acquiring grit. And when you acquire that at a young age, boy, you become so much better off as you get older. Great answer. Emma.
My biggest academic achievement this year throughout the pandemic and remote and hybrid classes is probably my time management. I've also been able to, I guess, get better at recognizing I have this due at this date at this time, so I need to work on it today.
Okay. Go ahead, Dan. You want to add in?
Another thing that I ended up realizing going away from my personal academic growth and improvement is just for our generation that's going through this, a lot of the improvements over time that at least I've noticed is the aspect of like online college, which gives you the same aspect of learning, but just at a easier and flexible pace of it being online and wherever you are. So I feel like what the generation is going through with remote school might open them up to the idea of going to college, but instead of having to stress about finding a living dorm or commuting and all the usual stress that comes with in-person college, it might open them to the idea of a remote college that they can go to.
So Dan, you'd like to know, well, one second, Renata, and I'll pull you right in with this, that Mr. Starr and I and people from around the country talk about reinventing innovative practices in education. And as we do that, we're hearing from kids that these tools are vitally important and they're help shaping the way you personalize learning. That's a good thing, okay? That shows that we're all growing together. And I'm so happy you brought that up, because it's a very valid point right now. What we do with the tools that we've become pretty good at during COVID. That's a great discussion we're going to be having with our teachers throughout all the buildings across America. So I'm glad you brought that up. Renata, you had your hand up and you wanted to continue.
I also wanted to add something, just a little, that I think also going through these challenges is so important to know how to focus on what's good happening instead of what's bad happening, because I feel like when you focus a lot on what challenges you're facing and how bad you're doing at it, I feel like it's just bringing you lower and lower, and you can't really build that much as if you focused on the good.
Positive energy versus negative. Yeah.
Yeah, gang, Mr. Packer, I'm going to kick it to Mr. Packer. The only thing I can add here is there are a lot of folks out there in our world that are saying that this situation with the pandemic has led to learning loss and learning deficits. And without a doubt, if we were sitting down and saying, where should we be in the curriculum compared to past years, absolutely are we there. But where we gained those skills, those soft skills, time management, responsibility, accountability, responsiveness to others' needs, to our own needs, being able to talk through feelings and talk through situations. These are all skills that have to get developed over time, and they usually don't happen until, in my case, I'll be honest, until I was into my 20s with some of the responsibilities that you've accepted and taken on. So while folks may say there's learning loss, there's been significant learning gain and learning successes. So if you hear people talking on the news about that, remind yourself that you have learned beyond what anybody has ever expected you possibly could at this point.
And you all just spoke eloquently about it and how it affected you. So I think it's absolutely fantastic that you can understand that. Hey, rounding this out today, let's just talk about your schools for a second. And where do you see the school's responsibility? Where does it lie in helping you develop the best you? Now, the people in my school, Isabella and Dan, you hear me every day say, develop the best you that you can be. And I say it like I'm a broken record because nobody can define what that is except for you. Okay. So where do you see the school's responsibility in helping shape you to get there? And let's start off with Emma.
Well, let's see. Probably maybe offering guidance to kids who don't really know what they want to be, I guess.
Fair. That's fair. Let's kick it over to Renata.
I think the school this year has done a lot of great things to improve our academic engagement and overall performance. I think that something that's really, really cool is that as a teacher, not me, but like as a teacher, I think that being able for them to focus, like, not necessarily on, how would I word this? I feel like as a kid, sometimes you don't really realize what you're doing. And as of like someone else who's an adult who has experience, they can really see what you're doing and they know what's best for you. So I think a few days ago, when my teacher asked our class what she can do more to improve our academic performance. And I was honestly kind of laughing a little bit to myself because I think it's not the teacher right now. I think it's the kids, because it's our choice to do what we're supposed to do. It's our choice to do the assignment, to listen to the teacher. And I think it's really about like self-discipline and self overall, just genuinely like that. What word am I looking for?
I think discipline sums it all up.
I think so too.
Renata, you're right on. Thank you for sharing that out. Isabella.
I know from my own personal experience that for me, the school is like a very comfortable space. Like I'm like my class makes me laugh every day. They're amazing. And I feel that like the school cares, at least from my personal experience, about our like mental health and stuff, and not just about making sure we do all the work and make sure it's on time. We also make sure that that our mental health is cared for. Like the teachers definitely care about that. And when I was in like 6th grade, I was actually going to make a club so that kids could talk about it. And everyone helped support me. All my friends, Mr. Packard did too. So I think that shows that like all the kids, all the adults in the school definitely care about mental health. And that definitely helps character development because it's important to have a good mental health. Otherwise, everything else will just probably not be that.
We call it balance. That is so sweet. I'm glad you said that because I walked into your science class today and you were talking about balance and how important it was. So thanks for sharing that out. Daniel, round us out.
I think that a lot of the staff at CMS, with my experience, is just as focused with mental health as they are as academics, and they offer help to you if you want it, and if you accept that you want to have help with this or this, whether it be academics or mentally. I know that we do have some great guidance counselors who can help with both mental health and just habits that will help you get better academics.
Renata.
Just to add this, I feel like something is not related to like it's school related, but I also think that I want to add this because I think it's really important. A few days ago, we had a project that we had to collaborate with others and like do it together. And my group, I was really like intended to kind of bring our group together, really focus on kind of collaborating. And one girl in my group said that I don't have to get these work done. I don't want to get these works done because my mom doesn't care. And I really want to just bring that up here because I feel like that's something that's really powerful per se. I feel like parents have also a lot to do with the mindset of a child, because if a child doesn't necessarily believe that the parent doesn't care, even if the parent does, but the child doesn't care, thinks that the parent doesn't care, I think that also impacts a lot. Just wanted to add that.
Renata, that's your light years ahead with your thinking. And Mr. Starr and I talk a lot about partnership with the community, with parents and caregivers, and the importance of everybody putting their oars in the water at the same time and rowing, not only for child development, but for academic growth and social and emotional growth. But those words were absolutely perfectly said. And again, it takes a village to raise children, and there's no doubt about that. So thank you for bringing that out. Mr. Starr, kicking it over to you.
Yeah, as I'm listening to you, I think about the messages that I try to give each morning. Be kind, be humble, be respectful, work hard to be better, help others, and seek help for yourself, kind of the 3-point plan here at DMS, right? Developing self-advocacy skills, advocacy for others, and treating one another with civility and respect. But I always close out those morning announcements with work hard to get smart and make it a great day for learning, because we have a choice to make every single day. And if we make the choice to work hard and be better and improve, we're going to make that difference and make that change for the person to our left, right, front, or back. And we might be influencing others in ways that we don't know how important our influence is. And that is a personal responsibility that we all have. Renata.
I want to say
We have a new person taking over the show. It's
I
gonna be
think
Renata.
so.
We don't need Mr. Starr, Mr. Packard anymore. This group can take it and run.
Honestly, also about Mr. Starr, I think your morning announcements are really cool. I think that your message, in my personal opinion, your message every morning, like just that little bit of like that personal like message from you, I think that's so cool. And I think that just gives me like a power boost every day to continue like striving for the best. And I think every child learns at a different pace, and I think just with simple, powerful words, you make a change.
Oh, thank you. That was really kind. But I do it for you, not for me. But the most important piece is, and we are kind of up against that threshold of time that we spend together on a Friday afternoon, gang. I'm walking out of here with a full heart. You've just refueled me after an exhausting week in the job. And I'll turn it to Dan, and then Mr. Packard's going to take us home.
So I do have a question for you, Mr. Packard and Mr. Starr.
Sure.
So without what happened, without COVID, school getting shut down in March of 2020 and extending over here, do you think that we would be here right now? Do you think that Unlock the Middle would be a reality?
Unlock the Middle was always a reality, even without COVID, because Mr. Starr and I agree that there are multiple platforms in education that we need to explore to become better and to give back. Unlock the Middle is set up for, in this segment alone, for student voice, because student voice in education is extremely important, because you are our number one consumers. The more we can listen to children, the more we can actually take what they're saying and bring it back into our vocation and what we do every single day, the better we become at our delivery. So the day that we stop listening, whether it be to students or to parents, is the day we kind of shut down growth. And I hope I never see that in my educational career. And I know Mr. Starr agrees with me. He may do those morning announcements every day. I think those are vitally important. But somewhere in the school, you should be hearing from a principal, assistant principal, a teacher, a custodian, a cafeteria worker, how special it is to have a relationship with you, the kids. If we're all doing that, man, things just take off in such a great way. And you know that as well as anybody else. Mr. Starr, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, the only piece I can add to Dan's question, directly is, Mr. Packard and I are both understanding that we don't know it all. And in order to get better and get stronger, we have to develop opportunities to interact with kids and with other educators and with community members in a forum like this, so that we can really have a strong professional learning network. And doing that by going to conferences or, reading books and having book discussions, those are ways to do it. But
Well,
this environment has allowed us to have connections with other educators from across the country, really the continental United States now, and North America, actually. And we're connecting with kids from all over as well. So this is a real opportunity for us. And while this was officially rolled out during COVID pandemic, this is a way for us to learn and give back. And this was going to happen, regardless.
Thank you for the question, though, Dan. You made us think for a second, and that's important too. All right, well, listen, guys. Daniel, Isabella, Renata, Emma, thank you so much for your time on a Friday afternoon. You just made my week, and I'm sure Mr. Starr feels the exact same way. More importantly, you know what? We look forward to continuing our conversation with you. We continue to look forward to growing with you and making sure that we're reaching our goals together, because that's what great schools do. They set their goals down on paper and they work to get to them, all people working in the same direction. So thank you very much. Mr. Starr, bring us home. We'll get ready for our closeout and tomorrow morning. Renata.
All right, Renata, last time.
Last one.
Go for it.
Okay, one more thing. I want to just say that like all these different conversations over the past weeks, like every meeting that you have, I think all of the topics that you bring up or like anything, I think everything accumulates, like everything's together. I think all of these topics create something. For example, COVID, these challenges that we faced in COVID, I think really are also something that builds character. And then character builds something else, and something else builds something else. And I think all of these topics really just join together to create a person, to create.
And remember, your true character is always brought out by when no one's watching you and what you're doing. That's when someone's true character speaks. And that's the last lesson I'm going to say for today on a Friday afternoon at almost 4:00. Mr. Starr, Renata, thank you for bringing that up. Take us home.
Well, hey, Daniel, Isabella, Renata, Emma, thank you so much for joining us today. Mr. Packard, it was great to co-host with you once again. Everybody out there in Unlock the Middle Land, we're going to be coming at you live tomorrow morning with Navigating Leadership. Watch for a little promo tweet coming out soon with that topic of the day with our colleagues from around the country. And, of course, Sunday night with the Unlock the Middle flagship show. Hey, be well, be better, be strong, everybody. Renata, Emma, Daniel, and Isabella, please stay on the screen at the end of the show. And thank you very, very much. Have a great weekend. Be sure to get outside tomorrow because it's going to be a beautiful Saturday. Be well, everybody.